So tell me about the play.
The play that we're doing is a modern adaptation of the Greek tragedy of the rape of Persephone. We have changed it to the abduction of Persephone as in our play. Persephone doesn't actually get raped, so that's a nice start. We changed the play that was originally a tragedy into a comedy and more of a modern love story, especially modern since that we have made Hades usually a male, a female, making this a lesbian love story to please an educated contemporary audience.
Tell me a little bit about your character.
I play the character of Artemis, who is the goddess of the hunt. She's also the goddess of the moon, but we don't concentrate on that in this play. Originally, her part should be played by Hermes, as Hermes in the original version of this story is the one that goes out to search for Persephone after she has disappeared. However, in our play we wanted to focus more on the female characters, so instead of having Hermes out to search for her, we had Artemis, goddess of the hunt, going on a hunt for Persephone, searching for her for a period of time that revolves over a year. She's a very headstrong character. Her main focus is that she is a virgin goddess, meaning that she doesn't care for men at all and she does not approve of love. I think this is kind of what creates a lot of the comic tension, especially between her and characters like Pan, Aphrodite, and even to a certain extent Hera, because they all like portrays as certain part of a relationship. Pan is like the young sexual tension and Aphrodite is the love. And then Hera is the marriage. The only one she Artemis really gets along with is Athena, who is symbolizing kind of the desolation and knowledge after a relationship like that, and the solitude after it. So yeah, she doesn't really get along with anyone. But she's great fun and she's a very strong and independent character, which I really like and I really enjoy playing her.
Cool. And just tell me a little bit about the script and the devising process.
The script was a long process. I'm also a creative writing student, so I devised most of the script. We started off with the initial thought of keeping it a bit more traditional, the story a bit more traditional. Hades was originally a boy. So having that change into a girl, in a sense, made the story writing easier. I was able to focus a lot more on what kind of images you would have then. We were very focused on the relationship that developed between Hades and Persephone, making it a healthy relationship and an innocent one, because they're both quite young in our play. I think that is quite an important thing that we need to focus on as a group. That was kind of the innocence of these two people, which is also why we don't have any strong scenes, we don't have any kissing, it's just portraying love between two girls, which is really the important part. Now, Artemis' journey through the different seasons and the different god that she searched for Persephone was another thing, because it's separated into sections, kind of like a chapter book would be in storytelling. So I pretty much wrote every section kind of on its own, still linking them together, but on its own, so we also had time to write something and then move on and rehearse that bit and then write something more, because it was, in the whole thing through, it was kind of developing these characters, and it's hard to write about a character if you don't really know the character that well, because I started focusing on the gods that I knew from like mythology, but of course we were changing this to a modern play, so we needed a more modern view on these characters. So it was an interesting process. Learned a lot about portraying gods in like portraying people in a new sense, and kind of picking out the flaws that is very prominent within the Greek gods. So yeah, it was really interesting and good.
Yes, lots of fun. So tell me a little bit more about the costumes.
The costumes were quite a big part of the play, as we were kind of keeping with this magical realism theme. We were trying to do this thing of both keeping the gods contemporary but also flowing, because they're gods, they're kind of above human standards, above human changes of clothes, but at the same time they will have moved along with, that's kind of what we were going for, that they moved along with the rest of society. So that was a very interesting part of actually designing the different outfits. Of course, we had a lot of limitations in that aspect. We couldn't go crazy wild, mostly limitation having to do with budget, which was small or non-existing, and also just what available places we had here in Bath. There's 2 fabric stores in Bath, so that was fun going in there, but also seeing what we could put together from scraps of stuff we already had. Like, for example, Hades' clothing is not at all made. It's purely our actors' clothing, different actors' clothing that we put together to kind of create the look. Whereas someone like Persephone, who has lived all her life off in Olympus, would be more godlike than someone like Hades, who has lived with dead people, literally having new senses of like clothing styles and stuff coming all the time, as you know, people always die. So it was more of a flowing kind of thing with the gods of Olympus, kind of just keeping them in touch with the character, which was an interesting process. We had Persephone in kind of upskirt, hippie-like dress of a material that was quite nice. It wasn't the best material to move around in. We couldn't get that, sadly enough, so it was quite stiff. I think it was a bit uncomfortable for Billy. Sorry about that, Billy. And then we had Pan and Zeus being Andy. That was the whole thing of having all the costumes on at once, and I'm very happy that he didn't faint it from the heat, because wearing furry pants is not always easy, but as Pan is a goat, so he has to wear furry pants. That was an entirely different matter. Then we had Zeus being halfway in jogging trousers, kind of like relaxed style, and then his nice jacket to kind of show his business side, to kind of have the 2 different sides of him. Moving on, we had Aphrodite in also a very sexy dress, and kind of like a seashell thing going on, kind of symbolizing that she came out of the sea. Just a nice quirk for anyone who got that, if anyone got that. And we had Hera. The idea we had of Hera was that she was kind of obsessed with the perfect family, so she had kind of this wedding look style, wedding but house mother style going on, which was really, really beautiful, like white and golden gown. So that gave her really a certain look that was really, really beautifully obtained, and also portrayed something that we wanted to say about the character quite clearly. Then we had Athena in a quite simple blue dress, just with a bit of snowflake symbolizing her season. Kind of the simplicity there was keeping that Athena is the goddess of wisdom. She's not really concerned that much about clothing. She's kind of like relaxed and everything, which was a good trait for the character. And also blue is the color of Athena, so that suited her too. We had me, Artemis, which was kind of like the hunting style gear with since we focused not on the moon side of Athena but more the hunter side, she had kind of the green pants and a bit of leather going on that was handmade, and bow and arrow. So that was also a fun part, finding props for all the characters. That was especially Artemis, who actually had the most props in that, but luckily we already owned some of those. So yeah, that was nice. And then we also had Demeter, that was pretty much just a brown dress, kind of a house mother style, which suited her great, as she had to have something to cover her blue dress. Again, I think that poor Maddie was really, really hot under all those layers. And that was pretty much the simple style. The good thing about Demeter's outfit was that it kind of symbolized both her Mother Nature style and also kind of how she was not only symbolizing in our play like flowers and harvest and, you know, the growth of the earth stuff, but also showing that she was becoming a more depressed character as Persephone disappeared from her. She originally was the one who let all the flowers die. So it was an interesting process. Yeah.
And then last but by no means least, what about the filming process?
Oh goodness me, the filming. The filming was fun, especially when we filmed inside. We have had a lot of lovely moments thinking about creating the right scenery, where we should film and how we should film it. When should we film it in Bath? Should we go to Bristol? In the end we decided that Bath was probably the best place, because that it still has so much of the Roman influence, and we figured we might as well use that when we were doing a Greek-Roman play. So that was really nice. We had lovely scenery. We did not have lovely weather. Oh my. It was very cold, and I was the one standing behind the camera, so I was covered, and I still thought it was very cold. Poor Rosie and poor Billy, especially Billy, who was wearing a very short dress, had to suffer through the very cold weather, which was not good, and I'm happy that no one lost any toes. But we got through it. Our first footage, sadly enough, got a bit damaged because of the foggy weather, which is really sad because it looked so lovely, but we couldn't use most of it, which was, again, sad. But we got through it. We had some more filming sessions. We got together and decided what to do at Hades' house that was filmed in one of our homes. Not that glorious or anything, but again, resources. So we filmed that actually in here, in the room that I'm sitting in, and that was a really lovely moment. We had some very nice conversations. We did a lot of filming, actually also a lot of filming that didn't get used in the final product. Of different scenes, of different affairs. It was kind of still important for us to build the tension slowly, them kind of going from enemies to becoming friends to becoming something more, but still keeping it very near the ground and very innocent, because we didn't want to sexualize their relationship in any way, because that really was not what this play was about. The editing took a lot of time. We discussed songs for the montages a lot. We did choose to do some montages through it, both to save time, but also if you want to show a relationship growing over so much time, it's really hard to do that if you have to talk all the way through, because that's like a continuing thing. So having these montages with music, like music that suited the montage and what feelings that we're going through at the moment, it was hard, and it was very fun. Also to kind of decide and portray these different emotions, kind of trying to portray through innocence again, how they would get close and how they would get interested in each other, kind of with looks and talking, kind of the intimidated things. That was really, really lovely. Also devising each of these small sections into like a continuous flow that would fit the play itself, so that we started out quite innocently, but also with a bit of sexual tension, and then growing closer as the seasons process, and with the seasons the different versions and different forms of a relationship kind of went on. So yeah, that was great.
Great.
Thank you.